Good morning, everybody, and welcome to... Hi, Steinbeck. Nice of you to join us for a change. Welcome to Cameras and Coffee, where I am enjoying a wonderful light blend called First Light by Mountain Town Coffee. And I also wanted to let you know that you are missing out. Oh, yes. And today, right after the intro, we're going to talk about fear of missing out. The other week, I got a comment on one of my video manuals. Somebody commented that they had sold the camera the video was about because they had FOMO. And it got me to thinking about FOMO. I'm sure you're all familiar, just in case. Fear of missing out. It's an acronym. So FOMO is something that savvy marketing people use to their advantage to separate you from your money. I know how savvy marketing people think. I've been a savvy marketing person for 20 years, and I've gotten very good at helping clients be very happy about separating themselves from their money with whomever I'm employed by at the time. So marketing people will use lots of different things to get you to spend money on their product. FOMO is a really powerful one. It's a really good way of saying to a consumer, a potential customer, if you buy this item, you won't miss out on whatever life, the better photos, the better video, whatever. They're not actually selling you the item, they're selling you on not missing out on a thing. So they're not they're not appealing to your desire to have the item, they're appealing to your desire to have something that the item promises to give you, right? And because of that, because of FOMO, and because how effective camera makers especially are at getting you to buy the latest and greatest gear, or getting, not maybe you specifically, but many people in the market to buy the latest and greatest gear, or to build up camera collections of old film cameras that might be a lot of fun to try someday, on the used market, for instance. This applies to cars, cell phones, computers, washing machines, you name it, right? So, but let's talk about cameras and what you're missing out on. Are you missing out on any photos because you have a camera that's a few years old? I mean, I guess maybe if you're only getting 3 frames per second instead of 30 frames per second, you might miss out on 27 shots in that same second. You'd also be missing out on all the editing. Yeah, that's worth missing out on. But you'd still get shots. Okay. Are you missing out on video? Maybe, if you have a camera that's old enough that it doesn't take high def. But here's an exercise I want you to do. Because what you're really missing out on with buying camera gear is all the things you could do if you didn't have all that camera gear. So one day I was looking at my camera collection. This is a few years ago. And I realized, oh, this is huge. I've spent a lot of money on this, and I'm not using most of it. Wonder what I could have done with that money if I hadn't bought all those cameras that were sitting here collecting dust. So I started selling them, and have been for a long time, with the ultimate goal of getting down to about 5 cameras total. Period. End of story. Take a look at for those of you who have multiple cameras, which is many, if not almost all of you who subscribe to this channel and watch these videos, take a look at them. Pick out your favorite camera, the one that you use most often. Pick out a few others that might have some sentimental value. They were your parents or your grandparents or something like that, or a gift from somebody who meant something to you. And then look at all the rest of them. How much do you use them? Is it a lot or a little? Do you enjoy using them? Take a look at all of the pieces of camera gear, cameras, lenses, everything else that you're not using on a regular basis. How much money did you spend buying all that? Oh, yeah. What could you have done with that money else? What else could you have done with that money? Could you have called up your friends and said, hey, let's go out to a bar and get some drinks, or meet up for brunch, hang out, buy a treat? Could you have said to a college buddy or somebody who lives across the country, let me come visit you for a week. Or could you have just said, I need some alone time. I'm going to go on a short road trip with that money instead. Or fly to another state, or fly to another country. What camera makers do, what their savvy marketing people do, is they sell you on this fear of missing out. And it is really something that is ingrained in camera culture today, that you have to have, or there's this notion that you have to have the latest and greatest camera not to miss out on the latest and greatest technological innovations that will obviously make you a better photographer. But what you're really missing out on are all of the experiences that you could have had with that money instead. Maybe you don't want to do anything, just want to invest it. That's fine, cool. Take a look at all of the camera gear you own that you don't use on a regular basis and ask yourself, what could I have done if I hadn't bought all of this? And then start paring it down to what you do actually use. So for me, the camera I use most often is the A7S II, which is what's recording this video right now. The lens I'm using most often is the Sony 55mm 1.8 Zeiss Sonar, which is what's recording this video right now. That is currently my most used combination. I have a handful of other lenses that I use, sure, on a regular basis. But if you look at, for instance, the round glass reviews that I do, I'm putting out about one of those a month, because as soon as I finish a lens, I send it out the door. And I can take enough photos with a lens to make one about one a month. And I got to thinking, if I had to sell all my cameras, I'm going to let myself keep 5. Which 5 would those be? Okay, I'm going to do that. And of course, I'm still in the process. All right, next question. What about lenses? That's a little harder. Haven't gotten all the way through that yet. But seriously, the point of all this, I'll make a third time, is a look at what you could have done with all of the money you have spent on camera gear if you hadn't spent that money on camera gear. You should not be afraid of missing out on a new piece of camera kit. There should be no fear in that whatsoever. Who cares? Cameras today are so capable. If your camera is within 5 years old, it's still going to be able to do 99.9% of what a new camera can do. Cameras are amazing today. Lenses are amazing today. A 5-year-old, 6-year-old lens, a 10-year-old lens is going to be just as good as the brand new lens that has an extra line per millimeter of sharpness. Really is. So what you can't get back are all of the things you could have experienced with all that money you gave to camera makers if you hadn't given it to those camera makers. So that's today's video. Just think about that. Just look at your kit. Look at what you don't use. Probably start selling stuff off and start being afraid of missing out on the important things in life, which are the experiences that you will not have a second chance to have. Thank you everybody for watching. Have a good day, and I will see you in the next Cameras and Coffee. Right, Steinbeck? Well, this is my life now. He's not getting up.